As you can see today, we are going to replace the brake pads. I'm sure most of you already know how to do this, but just in case, I'm gonna make a video. It's really quite simple. It's like 15-20 minutes per side, if that. So you have two 14mm bolts, one on top, one down at the bottom. And once you loosen it, then you can pull the caliper off. I always use my trusty hammer. And there's the bottom bolt. Alright, I always just stick the caliper up here so the brake line doesn't hang, or so it doesn't have pressure on the brake line. And here's our brake pads. Yank them out. The brake pads aren't really that bad, to be honest, but my wife is cleaning her wheels, so I took them off. And I've got other brake pads. TRW, they're supposedly made with brake dust in mind, so they're supposed to reduce a ton of brake dust. Let's see if they work. Another thing you might want to check is to see if the rotors are smooth. Just run your fingers over both sides. These could probably be turned. I can feel a little lip right here. The back side feels fine, but to be honest, I'm not really worried about it. Next time I do the brakes, I'll probably just replace the whole rotor. Alright, so what we need to do is compress the caliper back down, squeeze it. And we have a tool for that. That makes life so much easier. We've got this disc, sits on there, and then we have this. This will press against the caliper, the inside of it. Then you have this piece that fits onto there. Then your disc will go on there. Then as you turn it, it'll press against the inside of the caliper and push the piston in. It's a kit that you can get at Harbor Freight. I want to say it was like $29.99 or something like that. It might have been more, it might have been less, but I've had it for years, and it's just a good tool to have. 22mm wrench. Alright, and as you can see, the piston's all the way down. Another thing you might want to check is all the rubber around the piston to make sure it's not ripped and it's not leaking. You can actually buy like a rebuild kit, and it includes the rubber around the piston. These things are so cheap anyway. I think they're probably like $100, and when you take this in after the core, you're gonna pay like 25 bucks for calipers. I know on my Civic wagon I replaced the calipers, and they were actually harder to find because they only made them, the RT calipers only went on the Civic RTs. And so, but I did find them, and after the core and everything, it was, I want to say it was like 23 and some change. So I'm pretty sure the CRV calipers are probably the same. Another thing you want to do is pull the slide pin out and clean it. And if you don't have brake grease, then you should get some. But you want to lube up the slide pin and put it back in every single time you replace your brakes. Just a little bit will do, but you can't overdo it. Make sure you get the little rubber piece that slides back into the caliper bracket. It's being quite difficult. I don't normally have this trouble. If you have to, you can pull the rubber piece out and stuff it in there without the slide pin. It makes it easier. Here is the bottom slide pin. I left the rubber piece on the caliper, or the caliper bracket. Alright, and now you have the brake pad with the what do you call this thing? The indicator that your brakes have worn down. When your brakes wear down to this point, then this will scratch against the rotor, which will make a squeaky noise, which will indicate that your brake pads need to be replaced. I always put this one on the inside. Alright, now that the slide pins are lubed and put back in, we're going to replace the clips. That's these things. If you buy the cheap brake pads at AutoZone, they will not include the clips. If you buy the premium set, they will. We've got these little clips that slide over and hang on to the caliper bracket, and then this piece right here will slide into where the caliper meets, or where the rotor meets the caliper bracket. Sometimes they can be difficult. And sometimes not. It helps if you put it on correctly. Alright, and now we're going to put some lube on the little notch on the brake pad that sticks out and goes into, slides into the clip. And like I said, I always put this one on the inside. Alright, I'll show you a little bit better. Give you a better view on the outside one. Alright, so what I always do is I'll put the bottom one in the bracket and then try to force the top. Sometimes use a little screwdriver. And there we go. And some of your premium brakes will have this. It helps with squeaking brakes, vibrations. And so you probably want to get a premium brake pad. The ceramic pads at AutoZone, they're actually pretty good, and if you buy them once, then you can just take your old ones back and they'll refund your money. So you basically got brake pads for life, for free. And then now we put the caliper back on. The slide pins do have, they're not completely round, they're flat on two sides. So you want to maneuver those to where they are facing right in here. There's a little notch on the caliper. Now you just put your bolts back in on the slide pins and tighten them down, you're done. Now always snug them down as much as you can and then hit it with a hammer. You don't really want to over tighten them because it will mess up the threads. Once you do one side, you might want to consider hitting the brake pedal a couple times just to get the fluid pushed back through the system, because when you push the piston on the caliper, it'll push brake fluid back into the reservoir, and then when you come over here and do this side, you're going to compress the piston as well, and then you're going to force all that fluid back into the reservoir, and then you'll end up with a leak like this. Something that I normally do, but in this case I forgot. So you might want to consider doing that. That way this does not happen. So we got the brakes put on, and we got the wheels cleaned. I changed the oil. I checked the refrigerant and the AC. That'll be in another video. I'm gonna have to replace some stuff when it comes to the AC. But the wheels look really good. My wife did an excellent job. They're really clean. And we got the brake pad, the calipers looking all nice. But overall, it was a pretty successful day. We got a lot accomplished. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you all in the next video.